Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
Nice to see you here in the SaaS Master Studio.
Thank you for having me, Wolter.
Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to, after working with you for a long time, that we meet in this setting.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Very
So
good.
how is it going at Unium?
Super good. Yeah.
Yeah?
It's, we can definitely see the effects of what's happening in the world. But even though still super strong. Yes.
Okay.
How are things for you?
It's been good. It's been fun, but of course miss you guys. But it's more fun than I thought. So that's good. So I'm happy with that. Yes. No, I wanted to ask you a few questions because in my opinion you're one of the better salesmen I had the pleasure of working with. I also only work with 2 people, so it's not a very high standard. No, I'm kidding. But I'm super interested because I learned a few principles from you along the way. One is you never leave a meeting without a next meeting. So I want to ask you a few questions on that. And, you kind of had the habit of closing better revenue than I did. So, you managed to get a good deal size out of a tough negotiation. So, looking forward to hear some practical tips around that. So the first thing is about leaving a meeting or never leaving a meeting without the next meeting. Like, what are practical steps you take towards that? Because, on one hand, you can just ask, like, yeah, can we put something on? But I think there's a road and a journey for you working towards that.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. And that's really looking at a company-wide sales cycle and pipeline, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's often very small things that can make a deal cycle super long, especially when you're talking about high value deals.
Mm-hmm.
Many stakeholders and definitely when you're in a decision-making unit, so several personas that have to make the decision on this topic. You always have these inevitable moments of someone being sick or somebody's dog is pregnant or whatever.
Very common.
There's super many things that can postpone a meeting, and especially when, again, it's with multiple stakeholders. It's not really like, let's meet again next week. Oh, we have to cancel. Let's do it a week later. You tend to see that these meetings are being pushed sometimes 2, sometimes 3 weeks, or not even more in worst case scenarios. So if you look over a sales pipeline for a company, then I would say 30% of a deal cycle is thin air.
Yeah.
Things being pushed for silly reasons. And I think there's many things you have to take in consideration in your entire deal cycle to make that entire deal cycle as short as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just always, in the high value cases, a long cycle.
No, absolutely. And I think, ghosting is one of the biggest phenomena. And one thing I learned is I read something about that I think 60 or something % happens outside of the deal cycle, happens without you even taking part in it, right? Yeah. So it's internal discussions and things like that. So like you say, navigating your stakeholders is really important for that. But what would be like, how do you either have the charm, or do you try to have the charm to ask for a next meeting, or do you also try to almost persuade or push? Are you not afraid to be, the bad guy and just like, we need to have a next meeting next week? Like, how do you approach it? Are you the bad guy or the sweet talker?
No, I would actually say I'm trying to be as transparent as possible to explain, like, hey, listen, this is a part of the role of sales, right? And this is something our sales people walk into. Mm-hmm. And we also know, right, out of previous experiences that if a meeting gets pushed, it tends to get pushed several weeks in a row. Because, we have to align calendars again. And of course, we've got a bunch of tools to accommodate that. But in the end, it's still a hassle to get a meeting with 10 people in the calendar again. So I try to be as open as possible. The same with ghosting, for instance, right? We've spoken about it at Union at times. In the first meeting, just address it like, hey, right, we know in every sales cycle globally, people get ghosted now and then. But we do not appreciate it. Just share with me if you're not interested. That's completely fine, right? We've got plenty of things to work on.
Absolutely.
So I would say try to be as transparent as possible, because I think in the end we're still doing business with humans. So if I would ask you friendly to do something, I'm not sure if that's the biggest problem.
No, I think it's very fair. You build trust and credibility that way, and they also understand you have a job to fulfill, so no harm done, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I still think a lot of people struggle with it, so I really appreciate that you talk about this, because I think it will help many people just be transparent.
Yeah. It's there are many. I think over the last 10 years, right? There must be at least 1 million sales trainings online about how to do tricks on to achieve whatever. But I think in 2025 or most likely in 2022 already, most of buyer personas, they understand the tricks, they know the game, and they see through it.
Yeah,
I think by now it's just be the best person you can by nature and just bring things up front.
No, nice.
I think we Dutchies are in general a little bit.
Yeah, maybe too much even.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Yes. Okay. Good. The other thing I would like to talk about is, like I said, the negotiation, because not only do I think you have a ridiculously high close rate, I've seen the numbers, right, and I know the market averages, but also like the amount on which you are able to close certain deals. And what I find really inspiring is, a lot of people ask for discounts, right? They're always going to, especially in the Netherlands, we're negotiating, people with traders. But I think you have developed some nice tactics and tricks to not give discount for free, if you know what I mean. There's, it's not a one-way street. Like, you want discount, okay, sure, you can have it. Like, what is your process around that?
Starts super early in the process. It's a value proposition, of course, right? How much impact are you going to make with your solution? And of course, there's many things out of your scope that you cannot really directly impact as an AE or any role in sales, competitor pricing, etc. But definitely having that full scope of what is it that you really deliver and solve from A to Z.
No,
but I think the most important thing in negotiations is to know for yourself where the maximum and the lowest amount is.
Yeah.
It's also super good to understand, never give anything away without having something in return. And if a customer asks for a certain discount, dependent, right? Are they asking for 80% discount? Most likely we're going to stop the conversation.
Yeah.
Or are they asking for like, hey, a 10% or 15% first year discount? Because there's an implementation and maybe they need to replace another solution. And although you can make assumptions to ask the customers, like, why would you ask this from me? Like, is there anything you feel lacking in the solution, or have you made a return on investment that you need in order to acquire this? Or in this case, right, it's like, it's the first year implementation that we see, which is a cost, and make it much easier to make a decision. And that answer should give you something. In this case, it should tell you, it's like, okay, but if I get it correctly and I give you this 15% first year discount, you are able to make the decision for us. And then from there on, take it to, either a close date or a kickoff of onboarding, or maybe in different cases, it's a referral case, or making an announcement on LinkedIn for us, something like that. Always get something back. And really understand why they are asking for discount.
So that's good. So to recap, first, understand why they ask for a discount, because that will give you the answers to also fulfill, like, how many discount do you want to give. And the second is to always get something in return. I think that's really good feedback. I think we're going to get some visitors now, so we pause it here.
I think I heard.
Yeah.
Yes.